So hello and welcome. This is part 6 of the AS and A-level Python series, and in this episode we are going to be looking at typecasting. So typecasting is basically converting from one data type to another data type. And typecasting, in this example, we are going to be looking at how you can cast from an integer to a float, or how you can try to cast a float to an integer, and so forth and so on. So without further ado, let's actually declare a couple of numbers that we can work with. So we have num1, and we'll make it maybe 45.234. Alright, so maybe let's suppose that we wanted to print this number, but we wanted to convert it into an integer, as it were, because as we can see that this number is actually a float, right? So maybe I might as well just put a comment here which says that float. Then suppose I wanted to print this number as a decimal. How do I go about it? So there is actually a built-in method or a function in Python that is called int, right? So it looks something like this. So int is going to convert from a float to an integer, and the way you go about it is simply to pass your variable in between the parentheses as an argument to the int function, right? So that way you will get your you convert your number from basically a float to an integer in this case. So let me just go ahead and run that code, and you see that in action. So you see here that I get 45 instead of getting 45.2314. I simply get 45, right? What I've done in this example is that I've casted, or I've converted my float into an integer. And the way I went about it is by utilizing the int function that comes built within Python. So it's built within Python in the sense that, like for instance, we've been making use of the print method a lot in this example, in this series up until this point. And you realize that the print method, basically you write print, right? Then you're going to have parentheses or brackets, as it were. Then inside of the brackets, you're going to write whatever it is that you want to print, is it? So we do the same thing with the int function, right? We call the function, then we pass it an argument. That's what we did right there. So maybe we could actually maybe call it tree right here, and call this new number, right? Then what I simply want to do is I simply want to output the new number. That is the new value that I've casted into an integer. So you'd realize that I would still get the output of 45 that I got earlier on, right? That's how that works. Then you can also do the reverse, right? You can cast from a float. You can cast from an integer into a float. So let's have an integer called things. Like maybe you're counting the number of things that you have in your backpack. So maybe let's say you have 11 things in there, and you wanted to convert this number from an integer into a float. So this is how you go about it. So you want to utilize something that's called the float function, is it? So what we can do now is we can say new things is equal to float. Then what do we want to cast? We want to cast things, which currently has a value of 11. And after that, we simply want to print new things. So let's go ahead and run the code and observe what happens. So you realize that we get 11.0, but initially things was just 11, which was an integer, but now it's a decimal point number. So that's how it is cast from being an integer into a float. Then maybe let's actually go ahead and try and convert from a character to a string. So in order to do that, we utilize the string function. So let's actually declare a character called currency, and maybe we can put a $sign, because we use the dollars in Zimbabwe. Then I want to cast currency from a character to a string. So the way I would go about it is, maybe let me just say new currency then I'm going to equate it to string, then I pass currency as the what, as the parameter right there. Then I'm simply going to print out new underscore currency. Then I'm just going to go ahead and run this code and see what happens. So you realize that it's going to give me the dollar sign. But you might be wondering if really this worked. So there's actually a built-in type in Python that's called another built-in function that is called type of. So what I can do now is I can say type of, right? Then what we want to check the type of is the currency value right there, right? So let me just, okay, I'm getting type of is not defined, or maybe it's just type. Yeah, actually it's type. So let me just go ahead and check if we, yeah, so you see that it gives me that type. The type for the dollar sign now is what is now a string. Initially it was just a what, a character. So that's how you can convert from a character to a string as well. So I think that's just about it for this tutorial, the basis of typecasting, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.